Everybody ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Monday, September 19, Leavenworth Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. We do have a quorum. And next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the 27 June meeting. If everyone has had a chance to look at those, are there any comments, questions, corrections, or a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. No old business, new business. The first one has been withdrawn.
Yep, did not
And
need the variance.
so the second one, 2022-23, 1900 South 4th Street. Hold a public hearing for 1900 South 4th Street, wherein the applicant is requesting a variance from section 8.15 of the adopted development regulations to allow the use of an existing non-conforming sign after a change in tenant and business name. Staff report, please.
Yep, so as you commented, this is a request for a variance from section 8.15 of the development regulations to allow the use of an existing non-conforming sign after a change in the tenant. Young Sign Company is the application. The location is 1900 South 4th Street. The development regulations do state that a non-conforming sign existing lawfully at the time of passage of the sign code may be continued under the terms as hereinafter provided, that such non-conforming signs shall be modified to conform, replaced with a conforming sign, or removed according to the following. Number one is that if there is a change in business ownership, tenant, name, or type of business, that's what's brought us here today. There's a new tenant in the space. The current tenant is Pure Vape. Property is zoned general business district, and the existing monument sign is actually located in the right-of-way. We had a variance request for something similar last year for Tipsy's Liquor, and as we discussed at that time, most of the businesses that are along that section of 4th Street, their existing monument or pole signs are in the right-of-way. At some point, KDOT came through. 4th Street is state highway. KDOT came through at some point and acquired additional right-of-way that wasn't originally platted or part of those lots. So when those signs were all installed, they were conforming and on the properties that they were associated with. Our Public Works Department couldn't find in our files when that additional right-of-way was acquired. They've reached out to KDOT to find out what exactly year that happened. We suspect it was in the 90s, but we're not quite sure. So we're getting that date. But regardless, that additional right-of-way was not there when the signs were installed, and so that's what has caused this sign and several of the others to become non-conforming. So current regulations require that the freestanding signage in general business zoning district be located on the parcel and be set back a minimum of 5 feet from any property line. So since it's in the right-of-way, obviously it does not meet that requirement. Regulations also state that the maximum height for a freestanding sign is 15 feet, and it can be increased with additional setback. The applicants have indicated that it's about 5 feet over that 15-foot height limit. So Ann Hoynes with Young Sign Company is here. She can answer questions for you. I can as well. But we've listed out the conditions for approval for you to go through. And if you have any questions for staff or the applicant before you go through those, we're happy to answer.
Okay. Any questions, staff?
So the part that is it the top and the bottom portion of the signs to be replaced? Or is it
So the entire sign, yeah, I apologize that we can't have it up on the screen. So that entire sign is located, the entire structure is in the right-of-way. Mm-hmm. The way the regulations are worded is that any part of the sign structure needs to be set back a minimum of 5 feet. So with the top part kind of hangs out over that front pole, that entire thing would need to be set back at least 5 feet out of the right-of-way. And in the map with the yellow box on it, the sign, you can see it, it's completely outside of the parcel. It's to the right of that yellow line, so the entire thing is within the right of way. Again, due to that additional right of way that KDOT had acquired. And we checked the original plats for all of the parcels along there, and that original right of way was, I believe, 60 feet. It's quite a bit wider now, so I'm guessing that that original right of way was probably pretty close to the edge of the road. KDOT likes to have extra space to work in, so that's why that would have been acquired at some point.
I think you just indicated that the sign is five feet above the limit, but in the application from Young, it says 4 inches.
Yeah, I think it's
Was
only
it
about.
4
it's
inches?
only- Yeah, it's only about 15'4".
Okay, well then, there we go.
Okay,
It's hardly anything over the height restriction.
Oh, right, it does say 4 inches, and I took that as 4 feet.
Yeah, no, it's only about 4 inches is all. The owner of the property is Tom Stager, and he's, of course, has this tenant in his. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Tom Stager owns the land, and he has a tenant in there that's trying to get his sign in there. I'll be honest, we're not even doing the sign. But Tom is a friend of mine, I've known him for many years. He asked me if I could help him get the variance. So I'm representing Tom to get this for his property because his tenant really does want this. I indicated to Tom that yes, the top part would be the ID sign for the store that's in there now. The lower part that has the message center, I told him, you've got to make him get that cleaned up as well, get it fixed up. If he's not intending to do that, he needs to do that. Because I agree, it has letters that are falling out, doesn't look good. I also told Tom, it's important that you get it. It's got some landscaping underneath it, but I've indicated to him also that let's get that also freshened up, cleaned up, and make it look nice and fresh again. Make sure they paint the poles, do some things to make it look better than it is right now. So trying to make sure, because, yeah, the sign isn't very attractive as it is right now. Getting the sign faces in it and getting it cleaned up and getting the maintenance done to it like it should be will help improve that as well.
Do you know if he intends to reuse the message board, or will he
I think he
just
wants to
remove
keep
that?
it as a message board, but as I told him that he's not gonna do an electronic one or anything like that, but it's in need of repair. And I've told him he either needs to redo it as a message board, or if he puts something else on there, like service listings or something like that,
Just to clean
anything
it
would
up.
look better than it does right now. I haven't dealt with the tenant. I don't know what his intentions are. So I've indicated to Tom what I think he should do, whether or not he does that or not. But I think the man knows that Tom's spending the money for this variance, that it's important. He knows it's important to him as a tenant. So hopefully it's a mutual respect that they'll both do something to make that sign look better too.
Is there power to the sign?
Yes,
So do you think it'll be backlit?
Yeah, it'd be backlit. It always has been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, whether or not it's up and operating and all of that, I couldn't tell you that. It hasn't been turned on for some time. With no faces in it, you always turn the power off. So I don't know that there's, he wanted, I guess the tenant maybe applied for the sign permit quite a long time ago and was denied. And he didn't want to go through the variance process. So Tom called me and asked my opinion, and I said, I think you should apply. So.
Question for staff, is this wall sign conforming?
Yes, so there's signs on the north side, the east side facing Fourth, and I think there might be one on the south side as well. And so yeah, they had come in for sign permits when the business went in, and it was just that pole sign that we had to deny.
Referencing the variance, is it one variance, two variants, or combined a single variance request for both height and,
No, it's just a single variance request to reuse the non-conforming sign.
okay, that makes it simple.
Yes. Yeah, we're trying to keep it as simple and cover all our bases as we can.
If the answer was no, they'd have to place their new sign
They couldn't have it, there's
behind the
no.
building. Or, I mean,
Yeah, it would,
Yeah,
there's no room for a pole type sign or a monument type sign.
No, but, yeah, the way the, property line is now, it's basically there right at the front of the building.
So as long as they don't modify it, move it, relocate it.
Correct.
Yep, so
it's-
again,
it's a pretty-
yes, just,
Again, a pretty clean variance to
yes,
reuse.
so just
a non-conforming
reuse the existing
sign.
non-conforming sign.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions of either staff or friend of the applicant? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to go through the steps? I was gonna read it, but I
Oh, you
decided
wanna close
not
the
to.
public
You
hearing?
better close the public
Oh,
hearing.
Did you open it?
I didn't even open
No,
one
he
yet.
said we were doing a public hearing, but did not officially open it,
Okay.
so we'll check the boxes.
I would like to open the public hearing if there's anyone in the audience who'd like to speak either for or against. Seeing none, I'd like to close the public hearing. Open it up to a discussion amongst the board members. Seeing none, hearing none. We'll go through the request for variance steps. A request for variance may be granted upon the finding of the board that all of the following conditions have been met. The board shall make a determination on each condition, and the finding shall be entered into the record. A, that the variance requested arises from such condition which is unique to the property in question and is not ordinarily found in the same zone or district and is not created by an action or actions of the property owner or the applicant. Commissioner Gervasini?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
B, that the granting of the permit for the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners or residents. Commissioner Gervasini?
I agree.
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 Condition C, that the strict application of the provisions of the development regulations from which the variance is requested will constitute unnecessary hardship upon the property owner represented in the application. Commissioner
Agree.
Gervasini?
Agree.
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 D, that the variance desired will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, or general welfare.
I agree.
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 And E, that granting of the variance desired will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the development regulations.
I agree.
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 In granting a variance, the board may impose such conditions, safeguards, and restrictions upon the premises benefited by the variance as may be necessary to reduce or minimize any potentially injurious effects of such variance upon other property in the neighborhood and to carry out the general purpose and intent of these development regulations. Are there any such conditions or comments to be added? Okay, none, seeing none. Based by the vote, approval of the variance is granted without conditions. And seeing no other business on the agenda, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Motion's in second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
The meeting is closed.
Easy.
thank you.